At the very beginning of this anime, we're introduced to Alia, a Russian transfer student who instantly nukes the school's popularity rankings. And no, it's not just because she's insanely beautiful. This girl can top exams and destroy people in sports like she's playing life on easy mode. Totally fair, right? So Alia casually walks into school, and right on cue, a second-year guy with way too much confidence approaches her. Let's call him Captain Secondhand Embarrassment. Bro thought today was his main character moment. Spoiler, it was not. In front of literally everyone, Aya shuts him down so hard his ancestors felt it. Cold, brutal, absolutely iconic. From that day onward, Alia has exactly 0 friends, except for one guy, Q, a first-year student whose entire personality is just anime, anime, and more anime. Like a true anime addict, Q spent the whole night binge-watching shows, frying his brain until it entered power-saving mode. Naturally, he falls asleep in class. And of course, Aya, who has 0 tolerance for nonsense, kicks his chair like she's trying to reboot a broken laptop. Q wakes up, half dead, and explains that he stayed up all night discussing anime with friends and forgot his chemistry book. Honestly, this is just another Tuesday in the Q cinematic universe. He then moves his desk next to Alia, probably for study reasons, but let's be real, it's proximity buff farming. Unfortunately, the nap demon attacks again. Alia finally snaps and pinches him with her pen. Now this turns into a full anime slapstick moment, and the teacher, for some reason, decides this is the perfect time to call on Q. Because clearly, the half-asleep anime goblin looks ready to shine. Q has absolutely no idea what the question is. Seeing this disaster unfold, Alia subtly points at the answer either out of kindness or because she enjoys chaos. Q confidently blurts it out, and yep, wrong answer. Alia then stands up calmly and drops the correct answer like a mic drop. The class is stunned. Q is emotionally damaged. After class, Q confronts her like, "Why did you trick me?" Alia shrugs and says, "I was just pointing at the question number." "Yeah, sure, and I'm secretly an alien from Mars." Then Alia mutters something in Russian. Q asks what she said. She casually replies, "I called you stupid." But plot twist, she actually called him cute. And here's the bigger plot twist, Q understands Russian. He knows exactly what she said, but chooses silence to save her from embarrassment. Respect. Rare MCW. Later, Q pulls out his phone to join some online game for a prize. Aya instantly activates student council mode, saying phones are for emergencies only. Q fires back. It is an emergency. There are only 2 hours left. Honestly, peak gamer logic. Alia tries to take his phone, but then Q notices a moon goddess Ukimiki card, a silver-haired beauty he's totally simping for, and starts gushing about how amazing her silver hair is. Aya, completely deadpan, hands the phone back and says in Russian, "My hair is silver too, so why don't you like me?" Q looks like he just got hit by Trukuin's cousin and asks what she said. She brushes it off with, "I just called you a loser." Sure, totally believable. Then the plot thickens as Yuki and Masha are introduced during lunch. Meanwhile, Q and his friends are gossiping like middle-aged aunties, talking about how beautiful Masha, Alia's elegant elder sister, is. She's basically Alia, but with extra grace and 0 interest in men, because apparently she already has a boyfriend. Q, being painfully self-aware for once, says, "Even if she were single, I wouldn't stand a chance." His friends immediately roast him. "Shut up, Q, you literally sit next to Alia and get to call her by her nickname." Yes, Alia's real name is Alicia, but only Q has the VIP access to call her Alia. Then the topic shifts to Yuki, who apparently rejects even more guys than Masha. She flashes her signature smile at the group, but Q, king of missing signals, pretends he didn't notice anything. Soon, Alia and Yuki casually join the lunch table, sliding in with that classic cool girls entered the scene energy. Q, meanwhile, looks uncomfortable as Yuki plops down next to him like, "Oh great, another girl has entered my personal chaos zone." Yuki, on the other hand, is way too happy, super friendly, super close, which instantly sets off Alia's internal jealousy alarm at full volume. And that's when things start getting interesting. Seeing Yuki getting all cozy with Q clearly bothers Aya, though she's way too classy to admit it out loud. Instead of exploding, she just activates silent jealousy mode. Then Yuki casually drops a nuclear-level bombshell. She and Q have been childhood friends. Back in middle school, she was the student council president, and Q was the vice president. Not because he was qualified, nope. He only took the role because Yuki begged him. And as we all know, Q has the backbone of wet noodles. If anyone asks him for help, he'll say yes, even if it turns him into a certified doormat. After lunch, Yuki leaves, and Aya finally loses the battle against her jealousy. With maximum sarcasm and minimum mercy, she says, "I never thought a loser like you could have a female friend." The tone? Elegant. The damage? Emotional. Q somehow survives this verbal nuke and replies, "Well, don't you count? You're my female friend too." Aya freezes. Her face is colder than Antarctica, but inside? System overheating. She quietly mutters, "Yes, we are friends." Then she walks away, adds a soft little and yes, and flashes the most illegal secret smile known to anime. Cut to a flashback. Young Q as a kid meets a blonde Russian girl waiting for him. Turns out, their bond ran deep. Because of her, Q even learned Russian. But like every tragic anime backstory, those days are long gone, and Q doesn't even even remember her name. Still, he wishes he could see her again. And that explains why he magically understands Russian sass in the present. Back to the present timeline, Q shows up early to school thinking, today, I will be a productive human. Biggest lie of the day. He starts cleaning the classroom, arranging desks, even scrubbing the floor like a heroic janitor protagonist. At this point, bro is doing side quests instead of main plot progression. Then Alia arrives, calm and elegant as ever, and asks why he's doing student council work for her. Q mutters, I just woke up early today. Sir, that excuse has no stats backing it up. While cleaning, Q notices Alia's socks are dirty. She casually says they got splashed by Truckkuin on the way to school and sits down to remove them. Q instantly turns into a walking tomato. Man avoids eye contact like he just unlocked a forbidden memory. Alia senses the perfect chance to cause chaos and says, go get clean socks from my locker and put them on for me. At that exact moment, Q's soul leaves his body. He hesitates, thinking, how am I supposed to put socks on her legs? Alia teases him, saying if he can't even do something so small, he's useless. And just like that, his fragile male pride activates. He bends down, grabs her foot, and starts putting on the sock. Alia's face instantly switches to pure shock because she was only joking. And of course, because this is anime, his hand accidentally touches something he absolutely should not have touched. Alia, red-faced and panicking, delivers a perfectly aimed kick straight to his face. Honestly? Deserved. For the rest of the day, Alia keeps pouting like a cat that didn't get snacks. Sensing something's wrong, Q approaches her to apologize for whatever cursed alignment of fate happened earlier. Alia also apologizes for kicking him too hard, trying to keep things light. Then Q, absolute menace, blurts out, well, I feel lucky. That kick let me see a wonderful view. Aya realizes exactly what he means. Her face turns redder than extra spicy ramen, and she punches him again while muttering a string of Russian curses before sprinting away. What follows is the anime version of tag across the school. Aya running like the Flash. Q chasing behind like a confused toddler. This goes on for a solid 10 minutes until both collapse from exhaustion. Aya admits she might have overreacted. Q apologizes by offering her favorite drink. Aya, still teasing, asks in Russian, do you want a sip too? Q internally dies, because sharing the drink would mean indirect kiss. His brain is screaming yes, but his mouth refuses to move. If he reacts, she'll know he understands Russian. So he pretends he has no idea what she said, once again proving he's the biggest anime protagonist disaster of all time. Meanwhile, Alia is having the time of her life teasing him, dropping romantic hints left and right while Q floats in his own oblivious anime bubble. The truth? Q understands every single word she says. Does he act on it? Of course not. He's too busy being a walking, talking red flag to his own happiness. Scene shifts to the supply room. Q timidly knocks on the door. Q knocks on the supply room door and asks if Yuki is inside. She appears with her arms crossed like a boss NPC and says, don't you think you owe me an apology? You made me wait forever. Q immediately starts mocking her, because clearly, survival instincts are optional today. But before things escalate, Alia suddenly appears from behind, calm and cool as always, and casually says, you two seem very close. At that exact moment, Q's brain blue screens. He didn't even realize Alia was standing there. Bro's soul lagged. Now all three of them start cleaning the supply room. Well, technically, because Q spends most of the time chatting with Yuki instead of working. Seeing this, Alia's jealousy quietly levels up. She mutters in Russian, why aren't you paying attention to me? Q internally panics like his life just flashed before his eyes, but on the outside, he puts on his professional clueless face and says, huh? I don't understand. Meanwhile, inside his head, why does Alia always say such sweet things about me in Russian? Yes, genius. Truly a mystery. Spoiler alert, Q still hasn't realized that Alia is basically dropping love bombs on him non-stop. As Alia continues rambling in Russian, the student council president Kaki suddenly pops in and invites everyone out to dinner as a thank you for their hard work. Q instantly tries to escape, saying, I need to go home. But Yuki shuts that down immediately like a pro, who's even waiting for you at home? You might as well come with us. Kaki, curious, asks how Yuki knows Q so well. She casually replies, we're childhood friends. Q internally groans. Childhood friend or not, this situation just became 10 times more awkward. At the restaurant, dinner arrives and Kaki praises Q for completing 2 to 3 days worth of work in a single day. Yuki casually adds that he's also good at paperwork, which, honestly, is the most shocking revelation of the entire anime. Then Yuki casually drops another bomb. She's running for student council president in the next election. Kaki laughs and says she doesn't even need help, anyone running against her is basically doomed. And then comes the twist. Her opponent is Alia. Q nearly chokes on his drink. Student council president is a huge role. You need someone responsible, competent, organized. So naturally, Q immediately thinks, why am I involved in this? After dinner, Yuki and Kaki head home. Q walks Aya back to her place before returning home himself. When Q opens the door, he notices familiar shoes at the entrance. Inside, he finds a girl casually reading a romance novel on his sofa. It's Yuki. And here comes the reveal, she's actually his younger sister. She announces she'll be staying over. Q instantly starts complaining, so I have to pretend you're my childhood friend at school because you lied about us being siblings? Yuki shrugs like it's nothing and says, I didn't lie. Can't siblings be friends too? Ah yes, classic sibling logic, designed to ruin lives effortlessly. They normally live apart, and she only visits when she wants to shop. Just regular family life, but anime edition. The next day, they go to watch a movie. Yuki loves it so much she wants a second round, but Q reminds her that shopping schedule cinema enjoyment. While walking around, Q suddenly feels like someone is staring at them. He says, "Is it just me, or is there some silver glare in the corner of my eye?" Yuki casually replies, "Oh yeah, I noticed her a while ago." Turns out it's Alia, awkwardly claiming she just arrived and definitely wasn't stalking them. Both Q and Yuki know she's lying, but decide to ignore it. Yuki invites Alia to join them for lunch. But Q, activating overprotective mode, blurts out, "If Alia's coming, we're not going to that restaurant." Alia immediately feels a pang of jealousy. Why does Q want to go somewhere alone with Yuki but not with her? Alia is internally screaming, while Q remains completely unaware that he just set off emotional fireworks. Determined not to be left out, Alia insists on joining them at Yuki's chosen restaurant. The moment they arrive, Alia instantly regrets everything, because the restaurant name literally includes the word hell. Her internal monologue is screaming, "This place is spicy enough to summon the devil himself." Yuki happily explains that eating here feels like someone is stabbing your tongue with needles. Perfect. Alia's first trip to Hell's Kitchen, anime edition. Since it's Alia's first time, they wisely order the least spicy dish for her. While waiting, Alia notices Yuki's outfit. It's way more boyish than usual, and asks, "What's up with your clothes?" Yuki casually starts playing it cool. Yuki casually brushes it off and says, "It's a holiday, so I thought I'd try something new." Then comes the evil sparkle in her eyes, the kind of look that makes anime villains reconsider their life choices. With a mischievous grin, she adds, "Oh, and I stayed at Q's place last night, so I decided to wear his clothes." Alia nearly chokes on air. Q's face instantly transforms into a masterpiece of panic, confusion, and betrayal. He starts stammering like his soul is buffering. "She came to my house without asking and just took my clothes." Yes, ladies and gentlemen, another successful sibling ambush. At that exact moment, the food arrives. Alia stares at her plate like a shonen protagonist facing the final boss. There's no escape now. She takes one bite. Instantly, visions of her mother flash before her eyes. On the outside, she stays calm and elegant. On the inside, she's screaming for help in Russian like she just unlocked nightmare mode. Q, surprisingly competent for once, notices her struggle and gently says, "You can stop if you want." But Alia refuses. No one laughs at her. Not people. Not Yuki. And definitely not spicy food from hell. She keeps eating. Each bite drains a little more of her soul while Q silently questions every life choice that brought him to this table. Then Yuki decides to commit culinary war crimes. She sneaks extra spicy sauce onto Alia's dish. Q notices and tries to stop it, but Alia stubbornly says, "A single drop won't hurt me. Just one drop." Lies. One bite later, Alia is spiritually transported to another dimension. Scene change. Now we're at the park. Yuki leaves to go shopping, conveniently abandoning Q and Alia alone. Q returns with ice cream and awkwardly asks, "So, why do you want to become student council president anyway?" Alia replies calmly, "Do I really need a reason?" Q, somehow using his brain correctly for once, says, "Well, you'll need a teammate. You can't run alone." Alia pauses. Wait, that actually made sense. She says, "If I need a partner, I can choose anyone as my vice president. I don't need anyone specific." Then, under her breath, in Russian, she softly adds, "I wish it could be you standing by my side." Q's brain immediately shuts down. Smoke. Blush. System failure. Panicking, Alia quickly changes the topic and says, "Now you'll have to help me pick clothes." Q panics again and blurts out, "If we shop together, people will think we're a couple." The realization hits him like Truckkuin Premium Edition. Instant regret. At the clothing store, Alia decides it's time to remind Q that she is not Yuki's side character. She tries on outfit after outfit. Each time, Q compliments her more. Each compliment makes her blush harder. Confidence? Maxed out. She even tries a boyish outfit inspired by Yuki. Q compliments her again. Her ego ascends to God tier. Finally, she tries on a slightly revealing dress. She opens the curtain and Yuki is standing right there. Alia instantly collapses from embarrassment while Q mentally notes that he should have stayed home and locked the door. Later, Alia returns home where her older sister Masha is waiting. Alia tries to hide everything, but Masha, elder sister with psychic powers, immediately says, "I'm your sister. You can't hide anything from me." Eventually, Alia admits she met one of Q's childhood friends today. Masha laughs and gives her that look. "Oh? Sounds like someone special." Alia turns red and quickly says, "He's just a friend. Nothing more." Masha, still laughing, replies, "I've known you since childhood. You've never had real friends, especially not a boy. There's something special about this Q." Alia's internal circuits start melting. Special? That walking disaster? Her mind spirals as she tries to balance her growing feelings with her lifelong habit of keeping everyone at arm's length. She's always believed she can't rely on others, because most people don't take anything seriously. That's why making friends has always been hard for her. Then we get a flashback to Alia's middle school days. She was the center of attention. Everyone praised her, not just because she's Russian with flawless Japanese, but because she absolutely destroyed the insanely difficult transfer exams. In the middle of all that admiration, she notices Q asleep beside her, and she wonders, how could such an elite school have a student this lazy? That's the question Alia keeps asking herself. Time passes, and her confusion only grows. Q is awful at sports, never brings books, sleeps through every lecture like it's his full-time job, and she hates boys like that. Fast forward to the school festival. Their class is assigned a haunted theme, and Alia stays late after school working on her costume all alone, because of course she does. Then Q shows up and casually says, "You should go home for now. We'll finish tomorrow." Alia immediately refuses. Bowing down to laziness? Not in her dictionary. But Q drops a surprise. He tells her the handicraft club agreed to help, and they even got permission to stay overnight at school. Alia freezes. This came from him? She asks how he managed all that. Q replies with peak Q logic, "If you want to make something great, motivate your team instead of doing everything alone." Alia just stares at him like she's trying to decode alien software. She still dislikes him, but she can't deny he's right. Next day? Exactly as Q predicted. His friends spend the entire night working, the costumes turn out amazing, and their class wins Best Costume Award. Alia maintains her dignity but quietly updates Q's mental resume to annoying, lazy, but somehow not completely useless. Later that evening, the school hosts a traditional dance. Q is chilling nearby like a potato with opinions when Alia arrives. He teases her, "Aren't you dancing? Or, do you not know how?" Her ego immediately takes damage. "There's no dance I can't do. I just didn't feel like it." Q smirks. "Ah, so turning everyone down was too hard, so you decided not to dance at all." Alia snaps back, saying she didn't even think about it. She just didn't want to dance with anyone there. Q makes a silly face. "Our solitary princess is stubborn too, huh?" Alia blinks. "Solitary princess?" Q explains that's what everyone calls her. A compliment. They think she's royalty. Alia scoffs. Being called a princess reduces her to just her looks. Her talent, effort, and achievements always get ignored. Later, she apologizes to Q for snapping at him earlier, admitting he was just trying to help. "You can ask me for anything," she says. Q, smiling like the menace he is, replies, "Then let me call you by your nickname." She asks why. He smirks. "Because you're the idol of the class. And I'd be happy if I were the only one allowed to call you that. Congratulations." Q just rizzed Alia so hard even he didn't realize it. Internally, Alia is screaming, "Stop being cute." Immediately. Right then, 3 guys approach Alia, asking her to dance, and confessing their love like it's a group project. They immediately start arguing over her. And then, Q grows a backbone. He grabs her hand and says, "Sorry, guys, she's not free today." Bro just pulled a Netflix subscription move. Back in the present, Alia finishes telling this story to Masha. Masha smirks. "Oh, so that's how you fell in love." Alia nearly chokes. "In love? With him? Absolutely not." Masha laughs and starts telling her own story about a boy who once saved her from a dog and how feelings slowly grew. Alia instantly shuts her down. "If you want to get all lovey-dovey, go outside. I don't need your cringe romance arc." Savage. Brutal. Effective. Next scene, Q shows up at the student council room on Alia's behalf since she couldn't make it. Afterward, he runs into Masha. He offers to go shopping with her instead of Yuki. He politely calls her Kuzuhara-san. Masha waves it off. "If you're Alia's friend, you're my friend too. Just call me Masha." Then she gently takes Q's hand. The moment their hands touch, Masha gets hit with a full shoujo manga flashback effect, like she just found something she lost long ago. Softly, she asks for his full name. Q replies, "Misachika Q's." Her eyes widen. Masha's eyes suddenly widen, like she just unlocked a forgotten rom-com character. Something about Q's full name clearly shook her, but she quickly fixes her face and pretends everything is normal. Respect the poker face. They continue walking and stop at a tea shop. Masha asks for recommendations, and Q immediately admits defeat. "I know absolutely nothing about tea." Inside his head, if only Yuki were here. Mom taught her all this stuff. And just like that, mood ruined. Mentioning his mom brings back memories, because apparently even tea can't wash away family trauma. After shopping, they return to the student council room. President Kaki thanks Q for delivering everything and jokes. If Masha had come alone, this room would have turned into Wonderland. Q tries not to laugh, but yeah, he can't deny it. Kaki then asks Q if he'd consider joining the student council. Q, being the CEO of laziness, immediately refuses. "I'm not qualified. I only became vice president in middle school because Yuki forced me." Kaki counters like a wise anime mentor. "If you're not qualified, then I should resign too." He pulls out an old 9th grade photo. Overweight, bad grades, invisible NPC energy. Kaki admits he used to be a loser and changed himself to prove he was worthy of someone. Q, never missing a roast opportunity, says, "So, your girlfriend's the vice president, huh?" Kaki laughs and explains that joining the council isn't just about skill, it's about supporting someone you care about. Then he drops another bomb. Yuki is running for student council president. Q could help her by joining. Q responds with his signature move, "I'll think about it. I'm going to avoid this decision forever." Suddenly, Q notices Alia isn't around. Kaki tells him she went to mediate a fight between the soccer and baseball teams over field usage. Q goes to check and finds absolute chaos. Alia is stuck between both teams, trying to keep things civil. She calmly suggests the baseball team use the riverside field, but the players start whining. Moving equipment is too tiring. The captains stay calm. The team members? Chaos goblins. Q watches from the side thinking, even under pressure, she's perfect. Meanwhile, I can't even decide between iced coffee and hot coffee. But Alia feels her words disappearing into the noise. Why would they listen to me? I've spent my whole life pushing people away. Why would anyone trust me? Her vision blurs. Tears almost fall. For the first time, the unshakable Alia quietly asks for help, in Russian. Outside, Q hears everything. At first, he thinks, she's Alia. She doesn't need me. But that fragile plea in Russian hits him hard. You always ask for help in a language no one else understands, he thinks. But I understand. And I'm here. For once, Q decides not to nap through life. He marches in confidently. Sorry for the interruption. I'm Misachika Q's, the new General Affairs Officer. Yes, that guy. The one who forgets his books. Anime plot twist unlocked. He proposes the same solution Alia suggested, but adds a condition: the soccer team will help move equipment whenever the baseball team practices near the river. The soccer team instantly refuses. Of course they do. But then their manager, the only rational human present, steps forward and says it's the least they can do. With her support, the soccer team agrees. And once they do, the baseball team agrees too. Crisis solved. Later, Alia asks Q how he knew the manager would agree. Q smirks, flexing his single active brain cell. She's dating the baseball captain. By agreeing, they get more time together while the teams do the heavy lifting. Alia is stunned. Q used romance information to solve a crisis. Maybe he isn't a total slacker. Or maybe he finally learned that people are motivated by love, not naps. From afar, Kaki watches everything with a satisfied smile. Turns out this entire mess was planned. He intentionally threw Alia into a problem she couldn't solve alone. Because sometimes, the strongest people need to learn one thing: it's okay to rely on someone else. And just like that, Q stepped out of the background and straight into the main story. Kaki knew exactly what he was doing. He forced Q into a situation where his hidden potential had no choice but to show itself. And it worked. Q was now officially trapped in student council drama, whether he liked it or not. That evening, as Q and Alia walked home together, something felt off. Alia was unusually quiet. No teasing, no Russian whispers, just silence. Then she suddenly asked, "Did you join the student council just to help Yuki?" Q hesitated. If he said yes, Alia might quit the election on the spot. So he dodged. "And if I did?" he teased. Alia's eyes sharpened like anime swords. "Then I still wouldn't back down. Even if you're my opponent, I won't give up." Q chuckled, finally growing a spine. "In that case, I'll support you. I'll help you become president. I won't leave your side." Critical hit. Alia's heart goes boom. She squeezes his hand and softly whispers in Russian, "I like you." Q freezes. His heart skips so hard it almost logs out of his body. For the first time since his childhood friend, that warm feeling comes rushing back. And then, smack. Alia suddenly glares at him. "Wait, were you thinking about another girl?" He doesn't even get time to deny it. A slap echoes across the street, and his cheek turns anime red. "Congratulations," he confessed through silence. As they keep walking, Q mutters, "My left cheek is numb now." Alia, blushing like crazy, suddenly leans over, kisses his right cheek, and says, "It's normal in Russian culture." Q, completely fried, replies, "Well, now both cheeks are numb." No matter how hard he tries to cope, he can't forget her Russian confession. That night, Q is walking home, drowning in embarrassment. His brain is replaying the day like a cursed TikTok compilation. "Hold my hand. Never leave my side." Bro, even Romeo would have face-planted after that line. Then it hits him. Alia wasn't joking. She was serious. He reaches home and sees Yuki's shoes by the door. He opens it, boom. Yuki is changing. She screams. Q instantly snaps back, accusing her of doing this on purpose. Honestly, I believe him. Yuki even breaks the fourth wall. Relax. It's for the fans. Girl knows what she's doing. Later, they sit down, and Q goes full dramatic villain. "I'll stand against you in the election. I'm supporting Alia now." Yuki instantly switches to soap opera mode, crying that Alia has brainwashed her brother. Meanwhile, Q is calmly brushing his little sister's hair while apologizing. "Sir, are you fighting a political war or running a beauty salon?" Yuki laughs like a final boss. "I'll enjoy crushing you." Then she adds softly, "I know you love me the most." And this absolute clown agrees. "Yeah, you're the most important person in my life." Yuki finally softens, saying she's glad her brother found someone worth fighting for. Next morning, Q wakes up feeling strangely peaceful. Yuki didn't bother him at all. Did I upset her? He wonders. Then, hand grabs his leg from under the bed. Yuki has been hiding there like a horror movie ghost. Q's response? He shoves her further under the bed. Brother of the year, ladies and gentlemen. At school, Alia is waiting in the classroom. Every time the door opens, she perks up like a cat waiting for its owner. Is it him? Is it him? Finally, Q walks in. She can't stop staring. Why does he look so hot today? Then, smack. Alia slaps her own brain like, "Focus, woman. Because Q is acting weirdly competent today. He's awake, focused, even studying. Suspicious. For a second, she wonders, is it because of me? Plot twist, no. This man just had a good dinner and slept properly. Yes, that's it. Later, they enter the student council room and meet Chisaki, the vice president, who looks like she escaped straight out of a martial arts movie, bamboo stick and all. Q immediately tries to escape like a guilty dog caught near the trash. Doesn't work. Chisaki apologizes, but honestly, her glare alone could end wars. Then Masha and Yuki arrive. Q introduces himself and confidently tells Chisaki not to worry since he's been vice president before. Confidence from this guy? Character development unlocked. Chisaki pairs Q with Masha, while Yuki drags Alia away for club work. Q senses danger. And he's absolutely right. Once Yuki and Alia are alone in a classroom, Alia drops the bomb. By the way, Q is supporting me in the election. Yuki just smirks. Yeah, he already told me last night. Last night? Alia's brain goes into emergency mode. Yuki calmly explains she has no grudges. It was Q's choice to support Alia. Still, Alia can't ignore one thing. Yuki was at his house again. Suspicion creeps in. She almost asks, do you love him? But Yuki reads her face like an open book and casually drops a nuclear confession. Yes, I love Q more than anyone in the world. Even more than my parents. Alia is stunned. Who just says something like that so casually? What she doesn't know is that they're siblings, making this sound way messier than it actually is. Then Yuki flips the question. So, do you love Q? Alia instantly denies it. We're just friends. Yuki doesn't let it go. She presses harder. Since she was honest, Alia should be too. Finally, Alia cracks. I don't know if I like him, but he'll never belong to you. Bold, dangerous, unhinged. Yuki smirks like a cat that just stole the cream, thanks her for the honesty, and walks away completely satisfied. Later, Q is stuck helping Masha with student council work. He can't help but admire how focused and hardworking she is. Meanwhile, Chisaki is causing absolute chaos. President Kaki finally sighs and reassigns Chisaki, saying she's hopeless at general work, but actually amazing at handling club matters. Everyone wins. Masha goes to make tea, and Q notices she's preparing black tea. He asks if Russians only drink black tea in winter. Masha explains her mom drinks it year-round. Q nods. That makes sense. Your mom's Japanese. Masha is surprised. How do you know so much about Russian culture? Q explains that as a kid, he watched Russian movies with his grandfather. What he doesn't say out loud is the real reason, his childhood crush. His mind drifts back there again. Then Yuki and Alia return. Alia immediately slides closer to Q, like way closer, practically clinging to him. Since Yuki's confession, Alia has entered permanent jealousy mode. Q just sits there, confused. Why are you sitting so close? Alia casually lies, it's bad luck for young girls to sit at the edge of tables. Q, skeptical, asks Masha. Masha confirms it's true, but even she knows Alia is hiding another reason. Later, as Q and Alia walk home together, he senses something's off. He guesses Yuki must have said something. Stopping in front of a restaurant, he suddenly asks, do you want to go inside? Alia's heart jumps. Why? Q replies, I want to talk about election strategies. Ouch. Alia's mood crashes instantly. She mutters in Russian, I thought you were asking me out on a date, and Q doesn't realize what she just said. Q overhears her muttering and thinks, so that's what she wanted. Bro is confused. What is this girl even trying to do? Inside the restaurant, he immediately switches into strategy mode, seriously discussing the upcoming election. He explains how hard it'll be to beat Yuki, since most candidates already backed out the moment they heard her name. Meanwhile, Alia is barely listening. Inside her head, why is this idiot talking about elections, in a restaurant? Does he not know how to set a mood? Finally, Alia decides to take control. She scoops up some ice cream and feeds Q with the same spoon she's using, proudly declaring, in Russia, this is completely normal. Q sees straight through the lie, but chooses peace. He eats the ice cream, silently thinking, this girl is dangerous for my mental health. Alia then asks seriously, if Yuki is so strong, how are we supposed to defeat her? Q leans back like a self-proclaimed strategist and remembers the Kaki way, how Kaki was once a total nobody but transformed himself and earned admiration. He tells Alia that to win, she needs to show people she's hardworking and capable, not just the perfect-looking queen everyone already worships. They begin brainstorming strategies together. Q orders dessert and casually asks for an extra spoon. Alia immediately teases him, you went through all this trouble just for another spoon? I thought you were used to hanging out with girls. Q feigns innocence. I didn't know spoon sharing was so common in Russia. You do know it's basically an indirect kiss, right? Alia turns red instantly and mutters in Russian, it's not common at all. I'd only do it with you. Q, slightly amused, offers her a bite of his dessert. Of course Alia gets the spicy portion. Not wanting Q to know she can't handle spice, she forces herself to eat it while her soul exits her body. As they leave the restaurant, Alia asks who will stand beside Yuki in the election. Q reassures her. As long as Tanma isn't with her, it'll be fine. He explains Tanma once gave Yuki real competition back in middle school. Next day, Yuki dramatically reveals her partner. Q instantly groans. Life regrets speedrun complete. Later, Ayano, Yuki's maid, meets Q in the hallway and calmly calls him master. Yes, just another normal day. She explains she used to serve him in the past, though now she serves Yuki. She then drops bad news. The family head is displeased that Q is opposing Mistress Yuki. Q, fully done with everyone's nonsense, snaps, "What is that old man's problem?" He recalls how after his parents' divorce, he stayed with his father, and how his maternal grandfather forbade him from acknowledging Yuki as his sister, warning him never to reveal the truth. Yet now, suddenly, the family expects him to support Yuki. Because logic is optional in anime families. Ayano looks genuinely disappointed. She admits she believed Q would always protect Mistress Yuki. Q explains he isn't doing this to hurt Yuki. He just wants to support Alia. Ayano asks the bold question, "Do you still have feelings for Mistress Yuki?" Q answers honestly, "Yes, I still love her." But he adds that Yuki doesn't need him. She's brilliant, academically, socially, and in basically everything. Later, Ayano reports back to Yuki. Q refused to step down. He even told her to inform their grandfather that if he wants to talk, he can come personally. Ayano admits Q is still the same man as before, earning her respect again. Yuki, slightly flustered, jokes, "Did you fall for him too?" Ayano denies it. She says she doesn't have the courage to love him, she simply admires and idolizes him. Then she delivers the most important update: Q has officially decided to support Alia in the election. Yuki smiles confidently. That's good. Alia wouldn't stand a chance without Big Brother's help. She adds calmly, "This election isn't just between me and Alia, it's between me and my brother." And then she admits something chilling: she has never beaten him before. Yuki admits something important: she has never beaten Q at anything. But this time, she's determined to prove herself. Meanwhile, back in the student council room, everyone's playing cards, and Alia is losing every single round. Not even close. Chisaki casually roasts her, saying Alia is like an open book. You can tell whether she's about to win or lose just by looking at her face. Meanwhile, Masha is impossible to read, like a final boss with hidden stats. Someone asks Ayano why she became a maid. She explains that her grandparents served Yuki's family, and she admired them growing up. So she decided back in 2nd grade to become Yuki's maid. Yes, 2nd grade. Anime childhood decisions hit different. At that moment, Q quietly pulls Ayano aside and firmly whispers that no one must know he and Yuki are siblings. This secret stays locked. No leaks. No plot twists, yet. Later, drinks start running out. Masha and Q volunteer to grab more. On the way, Masha thanks him for supporting Alia, saying no one has ever truly had her back before. Taking the chance, Q asks what's been bothering him. "Are you hiding your serious side?" For a second, he imagines Masha secretly being another Yuki, calculating and strategic. Then he immediately dismisses it. Nah, she's not like that. She's just, kind of a lovable airhead. Masha smiles softly and explains that she acts childish because she doesn't want people to see her serious side. Q, not wanting to be outdone emotionally, admits his own truth. He pretends to be lazy so no one expects anything from him. Masha comforts him, saying everything will be fine. Cut to chaos. Tanya confronts Alia, accusing her of using dirty tricks to steal Q's attention and claiming she doesn't deserve to be student council president. Just as things get heated, Q rushes in, shouting Alia's name. He declares loudly that supporting Alia was his own choice and that she used no dirty tricks. Then he demands that Tanya apologize. Tanya absolutely refuses. She sneers, saying Alia may be good academically, but losers like Q don't belong on the student council. Ouch. Then she challenges him to a public debate during the general meeting topic, whether student council members should be chosen by the president or by teachers. Q instantly understands the trap. Tanya chose this topic on purpose, because as a bad student, teachers would never pick him. Q and Alia start preparing for the debate. Alia asks why Tanya hates him so much. Did they have some past rivalry? Q casually replies, "No, we respected each other." She's probably angry because he chose Alia over Yuki. Alia feels guilty, realizing Q is taking all this heat because of her. She promises to give the debate everything she has. They meet Miami, Tanya's partner, who casually says she won't participate much and walks away. Q immediately warns Alia Miami is dangerous. She has connections, and she knows how to manipulate quietly. Debate day arrives. In the audience, students whisper that Alia doesn't stand a chance against Tanya. Tanya steps up confidently, arguing that teachers should select council members since they're the most qualified to judge who deserves the role. Her argument isn't groundbreaking, but her delivery is flawless. Even Q admits it sounds convincing because of how confidently she speaks. Then it's Alia's turn. Begins her speech. She argues that only the president and vice president should choose council members, because students elected them, meaning they trust their judgment. If teachers made the decisions instead, it would undermine the authority and responsibility of the elected leaders, and just like that, the real Alia steps forward. She finishes by saying that taking this power away would strip the president of real authority. If leaders can't even choose the people they trust, then what's the point of electing them at all? This actually lands. You can see the audience nodding like, yeah, that makes sense. But Tanya jumps in fast, arguing that presidents accept anyone who applies, which could let incompetent students join the council. That's why teachers should control the selection. Alia fires back calmly. This has never been a problem before, so why suddenly take this responsibility away now? Tanya freezes. No counter, no comeback, just silence. That's when Miami activates villain mode. She subtly signals her planted audience members, and suddenly heckling breaks out. What does she even know? She's not even from this country. All she's good at is studying. She knows nothing about leadership. Yeah, subtle as a brick to the face. The goal is obvious: humiliate Alia and crush her confidence. But Alia keeps her chin up, mentally rolling her eyes like, wow, this is the best you've got? Continue. Q steps forward. I'll take over from here. He calmly says Alia has lost her voice from speaking too much. No one objects. Honestly, everyone's just surprised he volunteered. Q resumes the debate by bringing up Kaki. He explains how Kaki used to be an incompetent student, disliked by teachers and ignored by everyone. But the student council gave him a chance. Over time, Kaki grew, proved himself, and earned respect. Q drives the point home. The purpose of the student council is to give people a chance to improve. If teachers alone decide, they'll only choose academically perfect students, and everyone else will never get the chance to grow. This hits hard. The audience slowly shifts. Murmurs turn supportive. Heads start nodding again. Tanya has no response. She's completely speechless. Alia, exhausted but steady, follows Q's lead, and notices something unexpected. Tanya is crying. Alia gently takes her hand and asks why she acted this way. Tanya breaks down and admits the truth. She admired Yuki and Q's partnership. She envied them, but also respected them. They were a powerful team. That's why she withdrew from the election back then. Losing to Yuki and Q didn't hurt, because she accepted their strength. But seeing Q support Alia instead felt like betrayal. As she speaks, Tanya realizes the truth. Her anger, assumptions, and actions were entirely her own fault. She apologizes to Alia, admitting she had no right to blame her. Alia accepts the apology and says, even I don't fully understand why Q chose me, but I promise I'll prove that I deserve his support. From the side, Miami quietly comments, she's a good person. Tanya nods. Of course she is. Q wouldn't have chosen her otherwise. Later, Alia tells Q everything and makes a promise. I'll prove to everyone that you weren't wrong to choose me over Yuki. I'll work harder than ever. Q responds honestly. Back in middle school, I chose Yuki because I couldn't refuse her. But this time, it's different. This time, I chose you because I wanted to support you. Alia smiles playfully. You should explain that in a little more detail. Q blushes immediately. Stop teasing me. And anyway, why are you so determined to prove yourself to me? Alia answers softly in Russian. It's simple. Because it's you. Q admits he doesn't fully understand Russian. Alia just chuckles, enjoying his confused reaction. Scene shift. At Yuki's house, her grandfather discusses the debate with a stern face. You must not lose to Q at any cost. You have to uphold the family's reputation. Yuki agrees and leaves. Her mother later asks if everything is okay between her and Q. Yuki says yes, but when pressed further, she avoids the question. 2 weeks later, the entire school is still buzzing about the debate. Aftermath turns the entire campus into a gossip forum. Everyone's talking about Alia, how she stood her ground and basically forced Tanya into retreating. Legend status unlocked. In the student council room, Alia recounts everything to Q, calmly saying that students shouldn't criticize Tanya for running away. She even asks Q to help Tanya out. Q, being Q, reassures her, I'll always support you. Smooth, dangerous, effective. That's when Q suddenly notices movement under the table. Surprise, it's Kanaki and Chisaki, hiding like kids caught eavesdropping on adult conversations. They're embarrassed. Alia is flustered. The awkwardness is nuclear. Before anyone can spiral, Q calmly says, no one saw or heard anything. Let's just keep this between us. Crisis, mostly avoided. But Alia isn't convinced. She leaves the room, clearly upset. Later, Q approaches Miami with a serious request. He asks her to confess the truth about her role in Tanya's withdrawal, specifically how she planted people in the audience to heckle Alia. Miami hesitates, but realizes that clearing things up will help Tanya in the long run. She agrees and jokes, "This feels like a movie scene. Guess I'll send someone to spread the rumor." While they're talking, Alia suddenly appears. She looks at them and says sarcastically, "Wow, 3 childhood friends alone in a room. What could you possibly be talking about?" The jealousy is loud. The tone is sharp. Q panics and tries to explain, but Alia cuts him off and walks away. Later, Alia and Q study together, but the tension is thick. She's clearly angry, yet sits unusually close to him. Q is uncomfortable, but also too scared to move. Peak awkward silence. That silence is shattered when Masha bursts in, holding a book on hypnosis like she just discovered forbidden magic. Excited, she asks Alia to try hypnotizing her. Alia refuses, "I don't believe in that stuff." 5 seconds later, curiosity wins. She convinces Q to try hypnotizing Masha instead. Q follows the instructions, tells her to focus on his finger and then claps. To everyone's shock, Masha collapses. Panic mode activated. Alia and Q think something went horribly wrong. Alia suspects Masha is faking it, so Q checks the book and finds instructions to reverse the hypnosis. Masha wakes up perfectly fine. Immediately, she demands revenge. She convinces Q to hypnotize Ayano next. He claps, and this time both Alia and Masha fall under hypnosis. Yuki, being Yuki, instantly chooses chaos. She jokingly tells them to take off their shirts, and they actually start doing it. Right then, Chisaki enters. Yuki explains everything like this is totally normal. Chisaki sighs, uses her martial arts magic, and resets both Alia and Masha. Then she turns to Q and says coldly, "Now you need a reset too. You saw everything." Justice served. Later that evening, Alia unexpectedly calls Q. He teases her, "Were you missing me so much you had to call at this hour?" Alia replies in Russian, "So what if I was?" Instant mood shift. Q admits he's been feeling unmotivated to study. Alia encourages him, saying, "We're the same age after all." Q casually drops a plot twist, "My birthday's April 19th. Yours is November 7th. I'm 7 months older." Alia goes unusually quiet. "Oh." Q quickly changes the subject and says they'll meet tomorrow. Call ends. Next day, Alia is visibly annoyed. She tells Q she's upset because he didn't invite her to his birthday party. Q, confused, asks if she wants to go out with him to celebrate instead. After school, they go out together. Alia casually admits she's never been on a date before. Q internally short-circuits. How has someone this beautiful never been on a date? Anime logic is wild. At the restaurant, they discuss the upcoming final debate between Yuki and Alia. Q explains this debate is different, both candidates will present ideas, and the one who gets the most applause wins. He admits beating Yuki will be extremely difficult, but maybe, they can play some mind games. He also hints that Alia might not agree with his plans. Then Alia casually feeds him with a spoon. Q blushes and eats without saying anything. Inside his head, she'll never do that again. Why would she do that? Is she trying to kill me emotionally? Back in the present, Q falls sick. Alia visits him at home, explaining that Yuki asked her to take care of him since she was busy. When Q starts criticizing Yuki, Alia stops him, reminding him that Yuki still cared enough to send help. Feeling guilty, Q apologizes. Alia forgives him, and to make it up to him, she cooks a proper meal and personally brings it to his room. Q compliments her cooking like a grateful anime patient. Then Ayano shows up. Instant jealousy. Alia coldly tells Ayano to stay away from Q. Ayano calmly replies that she's only following orders as Yuki's maid. She was told to take care of him. Next day, Q wakes up at 12:30 p.m. School is already over. Outside, he sees Ayano cleaning and asks why she isn't at school. She avoids answering. Something feels off. Q asks her to bring the medicine Yuki gave him earlier, and that's when he realizes the truth. It's the same medicine that knocks him out. This was all part of Yuki's plan. Ayano bows and apologizes for hiding it, accepting any punishment. Q lets it go for now. His priority is Alia. Flashback time. We see Yuki inviting Alia to be her guest on a midday broadcast to discuss the Tanya incident. Yuki admits she doesn't consider her earlier victory a real win. She froze in fear, and Q had to save her. When Alia asks if Yuki noticed something strange, Yuki smiles with a straight-up villain grin. Alia responds firmly, "I won't be a burden to Q anymore. I can handle you myself." Next day, both Alia and Yuki enter the broadcast room. Alia is clearly nervous. Yuki tells her she forgives her and to lift her head. Then Yuki reveals a personal reason for wanting to be president. She once had an older brother who passed away. Before Alia can ask more, the broadcast begins. Yuki asks Alia a simple but devastating question. Why do you want to be president? Alia has no answer. She performs badly during the broadcast and is left emotionally crushed. Later, Q arrives at school and finds Alia crying alone in her classroom. He cheers her up, pointing out that Yuki's real goal was to mess with her head before the closing ceremony speeches. Now Q is mad. Like evil mastermind mad. Alia notices him smiling like a villain plotting revenge, and somehow finds that attractive. Still, she doesn't connect the dots that he's actually Yuki's brother. Meanwhile, Tanyama and Nainoa show up to properly apologize and announce that Tanyama is quitting the election. Q stops her. Don't announce it yet, I have a plan. At the closing ceremony, Yuki goes first. She talks about reopening the suggestion box and references her past as middle school president. Q admits it's a good speech, polished, but mostly empty promises. Then Ayano speaks, praising Yuki like it's her full-time job. Now it's Alia's turn. She shocks everyone by starting her speech in Russian. After a moment, she explains that when she's nervous, she slips into Russian, and people laughing actually helps her relax. She admits she takes her work seriously but isn't perfect yet, and if she feels she hasn't improved by mid-year, she'll step down. The crowd is stunned by her honesty. The applause isn't as loud as Yuki's, but it's real. Then Q takes the mic. He jokes around, entertains the crowd, and drops the biggest bomb of all. He says he once supported Yuki, but now supports Alia, because she's honest and doesn't make fake promises. Then he reveals that even Tanyama is supporting Alia now. That seals it. The audience erupts in applause, louder than Yuki's. Victory. Yuki smiles and admits she lost this round, but warns everyone the battle isn't over. Later, the results are checked. Q didn't make the top 30, which means he still owes Alia one wish. He jokes that since everyone already knows he supports her, she should start calling him by his first name. Alia tries, and completely fails from embarrassment. In Japanese culture, using someone's first name means closeness. Very close. As summer break approaches, Q jokes that Yuki and Ayano will probably plot something for next year's election. He suggests they meet during summer. His real reason? He just wants to keep seeing Alia. She smiles, blushes, and agrees. And that's where the season ends.